Totally. Okay. We are live. What's going on, everybody?
Hey, what's up, guys?
All right. So I just wanted to do a few thoughts on Patriot Bootcamp because I just got back from that this weekend, and then do some of what we had talked about for email optimization, and then a little bit on website. I had sent out something that people had wanted to know more about, how email and an autoresponder campaign and all that stuff. And Aaron has a ton of experience with that. So he'll teach that in a little bit. And then if there's any other website design stuff, we can do that later. Or if there's questions, just as always, fire away. So I went to Patriot Bootcamp this weekend, Aaron, and it was a fantastic event. There was 50 entrepreneurs. There was a ton of mentors and resources. It was a really, really good time for the entrepreneurs who were at very different stages. So you had people who, I think I have an idea, and you had people who, we've been cash flow positive for like 3 years. And it was fun to see kind of the whole difference of all of the ideas, all the things that they're working on. And the one big takeaway I was really blown away with was how unbelievably creative the folks were. And I know that we know that when we talk about it, but when you see it in person and you see someone who is working a piece of hardware software integration for a rugged hotspot, rugged Wi-Fi hotspot / flashlight for Syrian refugees who have been displaced and have to walk over 100 miles and are dying at an alarming rate, you kind of take a step back and you're like, turns out that veterans who have a super global experience, who understand hardware technology, how to mix hardware and software, and the importance of that, the importance of logistics, and the importance of people who may not have the same things that we have. And there were a few ideas that were similar to that, around tons of ideas around safety, how to keep people safer, how to limit loss and all of that. It's really remarkable to see how creative and how adaptive veteran entrepreneurs are being right now. And I think telling that story was super cool. And thanks to the Patriot Bootcamp team for allowing me to be there and talk to those entrepreneurs.
Yeah, that's a great program. I went to the very first Patriot Bootcamp. It was probably like 3 or 4 years ago now. And they did the first one in DC. And even the first one was a great program. If you want to have some fun, you can go Google my name and look for videos, and you'll see me pitching haphazardly at Patriot Bootcamp back in the old days when I didn't know as much. But programs like that really, it's put on by Techstars, which is one of the best tech accelerators in the country. One of the best things that came out of it, outside of just the instructional part, was just the networking connections that I built out of there. A lot of those people that I met there are people that I still talk to this day about work, as well as like just life and being friends with them. So anyone out there, if you have a chance to go to Patriot Bootcamp, check it out and go, especially if you're working on something in tech, because Techstars is definitely a great organization to really accelerate your company and give you the right connections to investors, as well as people that you can hire.
Yeah, and one of the things that also really resonated with me was how many entrepreneurs were helping each other. And I know that, you've worked at a bunch of incubators, and I think that kind of group mentality of looking over someone's shoulder and saying, what company are you working on and how can I help? But a bunch of the entrepreneurs that I've been interviewing that are veterans, how they got started at their company, if they're not the person who had thought of the idea, if they're a co-founder, even if they're employee 1 or 2, we're at an incubator, we're at an event like Patriot Bootcamp at Techstars, we're at different types of events, looking over people's shoulders, asking what they're working on, and saying, how can I help? That's one of the things for veteran entrepreneurs, that folks that might not have an idea, if you were just offering to be helpful and offering to help different folks on their projects, and you do a good job, when they're hiring employee number 1, it's going to be you, or they say, I really need a COO or whatever it is. And that was another thing that to see the collaboration that was going on was freaking amazing.
Yeah, that's definitely, the biggest thing that, I mean, most people in general are terrible at, and I think veterans are worse than most people even, is just building a network and understanding the value of a network. One of the things, and I think the reason is because, in the military, if you got ahead because of people that everyone hated you for it. They'd say, they're like, hey, you have to like put in the work, put in the time to get ahead in the military. Whereas that's not the way the real world works. The real world works based on the people that and collaborating with them and everyone moving ahead together. So I agree completely. That one of the best things that I see people doing out here in San Francisco, especially. I mean, I'm in a giant co-working space right now in downtown San Francisco called Galvanize. That has tons of companies in here, hundreds and hundreds of people, everyone working on different things, as well as like community events where everyone meets each other. And that's a great way to just find like-minded people to hire if you need some outside resources, and find people to start companies with if you wanted to. So if you're just hanging out in your living room or in your office with a bunch of people just heads down, no one's really collaborating on anything, you're really doing yourself a disservice, because you will not get ahead if you do not build a good network, and through building that network, give away some of your time for free, that's going to pay back in the long run. And I've done that consistently over the last 3 years since I left the Army. And I would say that giving away some of my time for free has been the piece that has rocketed me to where I'm at right now.
Yeah, you get it 10 times over. You absolutely do. If you give your time away, you figure if you help 10 people for an hour, you'll get it back for sure. Okay, so let's switch gears onto what we're going to talk about today. So email campaigns. If you have never run an email campaign, or if you're just doing all the email yourself, this will be super helpful for you. And if you're interested in 201, 301, or 401 versions of this kind of class, Aaron's a pro, and reach out to him for sure. All right, take it away.
Cool. Yeah, so this is a little based on theory. Then I'm going to show you some of the results that I've just had on some email campaigns. But email is the best, still one of the best ways to do marketing right now. One of the reasons is that I might not be on every social media platform. I might not go look at your billboard or anything like that, but everyone is using email every day. And a lot of people are saying, the younger generation than us even is growing up to not use email, but business runs on email. Therefore, everyone will have to have an email and use it consistently at some point, because there's just so many businesses that are just running their entire organization still on email. So personal and professional, email is still the best place to tap into your customers. And it's also, after you have their email address, relatively inexpensive. If you go to a company like MailChimp, you can get for $30 a month, you can have thousands and thousands of email addresses and send thousands and thousands of emails. And that's it for $30 a month. And that's going directly to the place where everyone, into their inbox that they open every day. So email is still one of the best marketing platforms out there. You still need to use email correctly. You can't just send an email and then it's going to have a return on that investment. It's just like doing Facebook ads correctly, or doing Google ads correctly, or anything. Is that if you don't know how to use the tool, then it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Like a jackhammer isn't going to hammer nails into walls just because it's a hammer. You have to use the right tool for the right thing in the right way. So
yeah, and really quick piece on that too. Another thing that we see sometimes is you have your personal tab, your social tab, your whatever in Gmail or whatever Outlook you use, and there's all these different folders or all these different things that go into it. But one of the things, and your email gets lost in the kind of chronological shuffle that is everybody's millions of email inbox thing. But the other thing that people don't really think about is that when they go back and look for something, they're going to search in their email inbox and find the email that you had sent them about whatever it was. Like, hey, what was that? What was that app that was for calendar use? I think it was like Calendly. And then you go back into your email, you search in it, and then you go check it out, right? So I think that that's another piece is you're reaching out to them directly. The other thing, it's you're a searchable thing within their email inbox when they're searching for stuff, which is what, like, you know, everyone's email inbox now is half a search tool anyways, because you have so much crap in there.
Exactly. And that's like, that's definitely happened for me even is, if I'm searching through my inbox for one thing, I'll see an email that I didn't even open before from, one of the many things that I subscribe to, and I'll pop that open and suddenly I'm, buying a product or, signing up for something to test because, maybe I haven't even looked at that company for a year, but I'm interested in what they've improved over this year, and their email was good enough to, make me go, oh, I should check that out now. So you essentially have direct access to any individual's personal digest of their life, because that's what email is now. No one, very, very rarely do people delete emails. So you've got everything just sitting in there for a long period of time that anyone could reopen at any period. And that's not the case with any other form of, paid advertising. Unless, even, getting like blog posts and stuff like that people save, they first need to go to your blog post. And a great way to get them to go to your blog post is through an email. And that brings me to kind of, one of the big things to start with when you're setting up email. So I'm going to talk a lot on principles here as far as, setting up an email list and everything. That's, if you go to MailChimp.com, it'll walk you through exactly how to, upload an email list, and create it, and everything like that. But that's the easy part. The hard part is the strategy of email marketing, which most people, they just think, oh, if I sign up for MailChimp, it's going to work. And I'm going to suddenly get a bunch of click-throughs. And that's never the case. Most people's email lists have, very few open rates, tons of people that have never opened anything, but they signed up. And they think, oh, I have like 10,000 subscribers. Like, no. You have like 100 active subscribers, and active subscribers is all that really matters. So to get subscribers and active subscribers, one of the first things to think about for getting those subscribers is, what is your objective of your email list? Is it getting people to buy something straight from the email? Is it getting people to click through to your website so they can learn more about a product that you're selling? Is it getting someone to click through to a blog post so they can read it and share it? It can be all kinds of different. Is it like, signing up for a consultation with you? It can be all kinds of things, but it needs to have a very defined objective, not just for one email, but for your entire, email marketing strategy. So as an example, a good one that's out there is, Duffel Blog. Duffel Blog is, like the Onion for the military, and they post an article or two every day, and they have an email list. And that email list, the objective of the email list is simply to get people to click from the email onto the Duffel Blog website and read the articles. And the purpose for that is because as a media company, they make their money on advertising, and you get paid by advertisers based on impressions and page views. And the Duffel Blog is set up in a great way where most people that come to the site don't just look at one article, they'll click through and look at multiple articles. So the intent of the email campaign is to get people to click to the website so that after they're on the website, they'll read the article and read other articles. And by having those impressions, they get paid by advertisers. So it comes into the sales funnel. Other intentions can be, selling products. If you're an e-commerce company, email is still one of the best ways to go for e-commerce, because if you're using the right mail platform, you can have perfectly customized emails. So instead of sending, like Duffel Blog sends the same blog post out to everyone because they only have one product that they're selling that article, right? But if you're an online store and you have hundreds of items, you probably don't want to send the same generic email out to everyone on your list, because what if you sell men's and women's clothing? You should probably be sending a targeted men's clothing email out to the men, a targeted women's clothing out to the women. And this seems really straightforward, but most people don't think about this. They think, oh no, just send it out, as if it's like a magazine, where you're just buying an ad.
Yeah. So on the segmentation piece, this is something that is like super critical, right? So you have a goal of your campaign. Your goal of the campaign is to get more people to buy stuff on your e-commerce platform, right? If you are sending out one giant list, and big stores are super guilty of this all the time, right? Like if I get an email from Banana Republic, 9 times out of 10, it is not specifically to me. It is, hey, we're having a sale at Banana Republic. And like, I know that they're checking that for optimization, and I'm sure that, that sale or whatever it is. But if you have the information on your people, like, hey, this person's between the age of 25 and 35, and they've bought X, Y, and Z on your site before, it's like, you should probably send them stuff on, hey, check out this new piece from our menswear collection. These are the best pants ever, or whatever. And if you're not segmenting that list for the specific things that you at least think, like you hypothesize that they want, it would be better if you had real data. And if you're not breaking your list into different groups and emailing them individually, it is going to be why the people will unsubscribe. And that's just like the bottom line. They will leave your list if they don't think that you're talking to them directly.
Exactly. And and especially for a product company, e-commerce, that's like the most important, because the first time I get this is women's clothing email, I'm unsubscribed, so the great thing is there's tons of apps out there. Like if you Google, e-commerce marketing or e-commerce email marketing app, you'll find all kinds of them. And the great thing about those is what they do is they'll look at your store, your online store, and based on the tags and things that you have in there. So this is, this goes into ensuring that your online experience is actually set up correctly, which is also a thing that most people don't have set up correctly. But, if everything is tagged in the right way, tagged with the gender, the size, the color, the type of product, whether it's, shirts, pants, socks, whatever. What you can do is, after you send that first email out to someone, you can have those general categories of, men's shirts, men's pants, whatever it is. And based on what they click on, the next email that you send them is only men's pants, And so all that they're looking at is all the different men's pants, because they've already shown interest in the fact that they don't care about the socks that you're selling. They want to look at men's pants, so now you can really target them in your funnel there, and you can even do additional targeting like that on your website. But that's the kind of data that you want to collect, and a lot of these email marketing platforms for e-commerce actually allow you to collect that data, and then they'll send personalized emails for you. You just have to set up the system, so that, hey, if someone clicks on this pants link, send them things from this pants category that are in stock. Things like that. Like if they bought pants that are red and size 10, then, send them other items that would match the pants that they bought, so that, so that they get an email that says, oh, you just bought these red pants. These 5 shirts go great with those pants. Here's a 10% discount on these 5 shirts. That's a super targeted funnel, and you can automate all that with email marketing. It's a great thing. So that's the piece about, having an objective, and then, diving into the next part, which is segmentation. Everyone on your list is not the same, so segmentation is another, super important part. The third part is testing, just in general, so A/B testing. So all the things that I just said, you want to, if you have a list of 1,000 people, send 2 different but similar emails to 500 of each of those, and see which are getting the best click-through rates, which are getting the best, sales on your site, because click-through rate might not be the most important variable. If you're getting a small click-through rate, but that email is making you a lot more money, then that's more important than the click-through rate, because you can improve the click-through rate, and therefore, make more money through other factors from that list. So A/B testing is really important. And then something that I found that's really helpful is consistency. So one of the reasons that emails get opened is because you know when it's going to show up. So if you're in your inbox on a Monday, so I'll come back a second here. So I send out a weekly newsletter in San Francisco called Vets Digest. That consolidates all of the veteran events, the worthy veteran events in the Bay Area into a single email. It goes out every Monday, generally around 11 a.m., but I test that time all the time. And the reason that it goes out every Monday is so that everyone knows you're going to get your events list for this week, for the next 2 weeks, every Monday. And I have a 40% on average open rate for my emails. It's generally between 30 and 40% for my emails. And part of the reason for that is the consistency of it always going out on Monday mornings, sometime in the morning. So, when you're going to lunch on Monday and you're checking your email and everything, you go, oh, I wonder what's going on this week in the veteran community. And you look for Vets Digest because you know that it got sent out that day. On the other hand, a lot of people are sending out emails just, like, oh, whenever they think of something, send out an email. If you're just sending a unscheduled email, an inconsistent email, that just goes into that whole queue of other, spammy emails that everyone's getting marketed to them from everyone else. So consistency can add a huge value to your open rate, your click-through rate, everything, because you have to look at it as a funnel. So the top of that funnel with email after they've signed up for you is open rate. Is everyone opening your emails? Because it doesn't matter if they're clicking through, if they're not opening your emails. You need to find a way to get them to open your emails more often. After they're opening your emails, then you can focus on, okay, now I want them to click through to my website, to do this thing. Then you can A/B test and figure out how to get people to click through to your email or click through from your emails to your site to do the thing. And then it comes into, they're on your website. So that's, a whole nother funnel. But consistency is one of the best tactics I've found for improving the open rate at the top of the funnel, which is the most important piece after people have signed up for your list.
Yeah. So one of the things that one of the companies that I was talking to recently, where they're like, well, how do I get it more consistent? It's like, well, if you put, whatever, if you're talking about transitioning military vets, right? Call it like, transition Tuesday update, right? So just put the name of the week in the actual email, or like, Tuesdays on transition or transition on Tuesday, whatever the hell it is, right? And so the idea being, if you just create a way that, hey, this is when I get this email, it's on this day, it's at this time, and you kind of build it that way that can work. The other piece of it is, if you are emailing out of schedule, like kind of say that you're doing that. Hey, I have this really cool thing that happened. I know normally I throw this in the Wednesday email for our company or for our organization, but I don't want you to miss out on this. And if it actually is something that they shouldn't miss out on, not like, hey, we have this, this 20% off sale for every Memorial Day weekend ever. If it's actually something that they should not miss out on, then you build credibility with that.
Exactly. It's like a VIP.
Yeah. One of the things, so as a final piece, because we're running out of time here, could you touch on like email autoresponders, what that means, how that feels as a user?
Yeah. So what an autoresponder is, and everyone should have autoresponders set up. So you shouldn't, every email that you send shouldn't be the user did something and now I'm manually sending an email. If you're doing that, you're doing email marketing wrong. So autoresponding, is sending an email based on an action that, so for to be part of this, you got an email sent to you that said when the title instruction happened, therefore to you. And that could be all kinds of different things. That could, yeah.
You were just cutting out a little bit. I don't know if it was my internet or yours, but yeah. So just say again briefly, like, okay, if you send out an email or if someone signs up for anything on your site and you have to email them personally, you're absolutely doing email marketing wrong. then what's next?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So auto response emails are based on an action. So that's if, that could be, you can have that set up where it could be someone adding something to your cart, and it sends them an email 5 hours later that says, oh, hey, did you forget to buy this? Here's 10% off to buy it right now. Your site can be set up that way. Actually, a site like Shopify is set up that way so that it's really convenient to do things like that. That's what autoresponders are. You can also have that set up to auto respond people through a sales funnel. So if I'm selling, an online course, or, like what I do for like my consulting time, I can send a first email that's just, hey, thanks for coming. Here's some content, schedule a free consultation at this email. And here's a few other links. And based on the links that they click on, I get an understanding of what they're interested in. And then I have a whole nother set of email chains for each of those links that sends them more valuable content for the things that they're interested in. So I'm not doing any of that manually. I've set that system up ahead of time, so that they get the content that's relevant to them in an auto response fashion. And that's the way that, every business should be running on that, should at least have a set of auto responses for core tasks. Like if someone buys something on your site, you should have an auto response set up for, a week later or a day or two later, saying, thanks a lot. How do you like that product? Will you write a review on our site about your product? Whatever based on your shipping time is. The same with like an online course or anything. You should have something set up on a timer, basically, where you're getting more feedback and keeping engagement with that customer while it's warm. You can even say, hey, if you like that product, here's a 10% off code to give to one of your friends, or something like that. It's all based on your own strategy, which you can set up that whole chain so that you don't have to manually think about sending emails to people, but instead everything just happens, and you get to look at the data that's coming from it and improve the funnel, improve individually, the email template, as opposed to spending admin time writing emails to people every day, which is a huge waste of time, especially if you're a small business owner.
Yeah. So one of the ones that was really good, I signed up for the Mattermark Daily like 2 weeks ago, which is actually a curated piece by a military veteran, Nick Frost, which is pretty cool. And I got an email that was basically like first week in the books or something like that. And it was like, hey, like you signed up a week ago, like how are things? And I think it's like one of those autoresponder kind of things where it's like, if you just kind of checked in every few months, like, hey, you started hanging out on our news list 3 months ago. Like, what do you think? Or poll, or do you like it or hate it? Or I just want to thank you for being a part of it, and our users have done X, Y, and Z. Or here's an update on our company, or whatever it is that you want to tell them about. But you can put that, and every single month on the day from when they signed up for it for 12 months, you have 12 emails already written that go to that person. And there's tons of different things like that. But I think that a lot of small business owners, for sure, aren't thinking of ways that they could set up an entire year's worth of email content and hit a button and it sends all of that out and they don't have to do anything.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think most people are thinking about that. I think, one of the things that I've seen just in general is that most business owners, especially traditional business owners, like that aren't working in tech, have a tough understanding of what's possible and where they should focus their time and cash flow to actually add value to what's possible. Because with the internet, I could use my money just on marketing. This is outside of HR and product and internal processes and accounting and expense reporting. There's like ways to simplify all of that for really cheap, and you'll save money based on saving time, through all of those things. But even just within marketing, you can spend money on email marketing, Facebook ads, Google ads, LinkedIn ads, content marketing, where optimizing your website, tracking that data and optimizing all of that, copywriting, designers, all these different things. And so it gets really overwhelming, I think, for most business owners, because there's so many options now that they have access to. Imagine it like you get this giant tool chest filled with tools, no training on it, and they say, go build a house. And you don't even know which tool to use first, much less how to build a house. And that's the situation right now. And that's where the best thing, in my opinion, that most business owners can do is hire someone who knows what they're doing, not as an employee, but as a outside contractor, because one, whoever you hire as an employee, their incentive is to not get fired. Employees' incentive is to not get fired. You need employees who believe in your mission and everything, but their incentive is to not get fired in general. A outside contractor's incentive, so for example, like my agency's incentive is to get hired. Therefore, I always have to be the best at marketing. I always have to be the best at growth strategy, because if not, then you can hire someone else, right? And I'm also very easy to fire. You can send an email and say, hey, I want to end this relationship, and that's done. That is not how easy it is to fire an employee. So there's a huge mental shift that needs to happen, for people to, get their company around, getting the best people to work on things, as well as, just really getting an understanding of what are the best things to work on. And that's really hard. And
yeah,
especially that's what I help companies do, is figure out where they should actually put their effort.
If you have limited resources and you have to pay for all that sort of stuff, would you rather kind of hire a team to come in and take care of it for you, or would you rather spend the time to find, vet, hire, go through the talent acquisition process, give benefits to, if they're not working on high level, like strategy type for your small business, or there's someone who's like extremely important for other reasons other than just their setting up marketing campaigns or growth campaigns, just hire an outside expert that can do it way faster, easier, and better, and cheaper for you in the long run.
Exactly.
All right. Anything else? We're running out of time. Silence.
I got for this. I think you froze up there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right. Thanks, buddy. We appreciate it. We'll see everybody next week, and we'll let you know what we're working on. Send me questions or email at my email, ian.faison@victorymedia.com, for more things that you want to see on these, and we will talk to you soon.
See you later.